Welcome to Chez, Genèse, the place of new beginnings. My name is Catherine Hubert, and I founded and own a French-inspired cafe where, as a team, we are on a mission to change the way our world views and employs adults with disabilities. Our restaurant was born and is based in Greensboro, North Carolina, and that's where we practice and teach our mission and model. This is our channel where we dive in deep to who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Our hope is that this content is empowering to disabled and non-disabled humans alike, and that no matter what perspective you are coming from, whether that's employer, employee, parent, friend, or Chez Genèse fan, you feel welcomed, you learn something new, and you walk away with a deeper appreciation and understanding of humanity. Okay, hi everybody, welcome back. We are excited to continue our discussion in our celebration of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. This is week 2, and today we are talking about why is disability employment important. There are countless reasons why it is important. Today we are going to cover just a few of them, kind of picking some focal points or areas that we are really paying attention to as a team and that we want to invite you into as our community. So, number one being that we believe, like at the baseline of all of the work that we're doing when it comes to disability employment and advocacy, that the themes of humanity and belonging are central and are foundational. So, that is the number one reason why I believe disability employment is important. I want to see us live in a world where all humans are able to show up in life and in their work with their fullest selves. And a big part of that is making space, or in some cases, accommodations for people to actually do that. So we see that through the work of disability employment, but the heartbeat, at least for me and for my team behind that, is wanting to create spaces and environments where people are welcomed, they're seen, they're celebrated, and they ultimately belong. A kind of offshoot of that is that I really do believe that our communities, our workspaces function best when you have a diverse group of people and where there's truly a seat at the table for everyone who is involved. I think that provides opportunity for greater balance, for higher intelligence, for more ideas, for more productivity, for more compassion. There's so many aspects of life and community that we can share with one another, and that we become stronger in together when there's room and there's space for us to all show up and belong. Secondly, number 2 is that 25% of the U.S. population are disabled, which makes it the largest minority group and also a pretty large chunk of U.S. citizens. And within that, the disability unemployment rate is still sitting around like 60 or 70%. So if you have 25% of individuals with disabilities in the United States, and then 60 to 70% of that 25% are unemployed, that's a lot of people, and that's a really big gap. There are a lot of people that are disabled who are not being offered jobs, who are not keeping jobs, or not finding jobs that are a good fit. So I think within that there are, and we've talked about this in some other videos, but there are some stereotypes, I think, and bias that can go into that. I think there's a bias or a belief that many non-disabled humans have, that the reason disabled humans aren't working is because of capabilities to either obtain a job or maintain a job. And I like to flip that on its head, and I think really the reason that there are a lot of disabled adults who aren't employed is because there are a lot of employers who either are not aware of the need that's there, or who are not willing to make their spaces inclusive, who are not willing to take the steps to become educated and make their spaces adaptive, or who just straight up are biased against someone with a disability and therefore are not hiring them. All of that's unfair. All of that goes against the access and the equity themes that we're talking about this month, along with National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And so it's important to acknowledge and to just recognize that just because there are a large percentage of disabled adults who don't have work does not mean that the individuals who are unemployed are not capable of getting a job or keeping a job. There most likely are a lot of obstacles or roadblocks that they're facing in the workplace that are preventing jobs from being accessible, or they're the first ones to get let go when there are layoffs that are happening, or they're not given the opportunity to interview, which all of that is inequitable. But it's important to consider that there are a lot of different reasons and that there's a lot of responsibility that can and needs to be placed at the feet of the employer and not at the feet of the disabled individual who's looking for work. So that's the second point. And lastly, point number 3, and this is really like, if you're not going to approach this topic from a social impact perspective of like, how can we make the world more fair, more equal, better for all, like if that's not the standpoint, is looking through it from a social justice lens, then I would encourage you to at least look through it from a selfish lens, which is that disability is not off the table for any human. It's something that could happen to anyone at any time in your life. And so not only when you're pushing for equal rights and opportunity for disability employment, not only are you doing that for people who are currently disabled, but you're doing that for people who may become disabled in the future. And that could be you, that could be me. So just know that it's the level of impact is high. It's something that affects already a lot of people and has the potential to impact more people. No one is immune from disability in their life. And so I say that not really to encourage people to be selfish and to approach this topic selfishly. That's not really my heart or goal, but I do think that it's fair to examine the fact that the work that we're doing has potential impact for any person. And by fighting for disabled adults who already may be treated unfairly or who are left in the margins when it comes to employment, you're improving conditions for people that are currently impacted, and you're improving conditions for people who could be impacted in the future, and that could include yourself. So those are all some basic reasons why I think disability employment is important. To sum up, number 1, belonging in our world as a human is a basic right. It is not something that is always honored and respected, and so we are pushing for that more and more. And our area of focus and push specifically is within disability employment. And then number 2, well, number 1, A or B, I guess, is that I do think we function better as a whole. Humans function better as a whole and together, and having diversity within your groups, whether that's a work group, a social group, etc. We can learn and grow best, I think, together. And then number 2 is that disability is the largest minority group in the United States. The disability rate is currently still really high, so we're wanting to change that and bridge that gap and put the responsibility of closing that gap on employers and not on disabled employees. And number 3 is that disability is something that has the potential to impact any person. And so continuing to push for equality in this area not only betters our world now, but it sets us up for a future where more and more people can belong, participate, contribute, achieve, etc. So that's what we got. If you've got more thoughts or things that you would like to add, please drop those in the comments below. We would love your questions, and we love hearing the feedback in the comments. If you like our content and you plan to keep following along, if you'll hit the subscribe button, that helps us grow and will eventually help us get paid for the work that we're doing online, which we greatly appreciate. So thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.